Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, Joe, and I got my boy B Foster. It's Friday night. We are letting the content. I don't think we went live on a Friday ever, Foss. I think this is our first Friday. We're gonna see how it goes. We said we were gonna go try this Friday night thing type of media drop on Friday. We live. But before we get into our show, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and make sure you follow us on all the podcast aggregators. Make sure you type in Post Game Podcast FFSN. That's our Pistons show on the aggregators. Make sure you follow us. Make sure that notification bell is on, and so when we drop content, you'll be able to get a notification. You can download those episodes and you can listen to us on your way to work, while you cleaning the house, all that good stuff. Foster, we got to talk, bro.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we did an individual Pistons show, right?
Right. We've been doing the Monday night Johns with the Central Division showdown with the counterparts, and I think we got kind of complacent with doing that show. But this is one of those seasons where we're kind of excited about with all the changes and the roster turnover and this, that, and the other. So I guess this is our way of saying, hey, we're going to try to do a little bit more. And the road has been kind of rocky lately, Foss.
A little rocky. Ups and downs, though. Ups and downs.
I mean, but the thing is, it's like most games are competitive, but then you have a game like last night, and I didn't see the game. By the time I got a chance to look at it, it was 100-76 in the fourth quarter, and it was like, what did I turn this on for? Right? And I hadn't even paid it. Usually I pay attention to the scores if I'm not watching the game, and I did not pay attention to any of the game. I just thought, oh, the game's on. I'm late. Let me chime in and see what we're doing. And by the time I turned to it, first thing I see, 100-76. And it was like, oh, yeah, there was a reason why I didn't watch this game.
So, sometimes something tells you not to, and
But the bright spot of the game is Mr. Holland.
You saw that too.
I saw the stat line. And what was it? The biggest thing was 40% from threes.
He had a couple threes.
It's like, okay, can we have some of these things happen at the same time where we're winning and Holland does well? Let's work on that. Let's work on that. But anyway, when was the last time the Pistons won? I know it hasn't
been that long. There was just there was a break in between, but we beat the Knicks on Saturday, which was the day I was at the Red Wings game. So I missed the entire game, but we went to Madison Square Garden and had a definitive win against the Knicks. I feel
it wasn't close. It was pretty decisive.
But yeah, I think Cade had a triple double, if I'm not mistaken.
He had 29 points and a triple double,
which he's nearly averaging that. Not that close, but he's got 9 assists, 7 rebounds. But okay. Yeah, in the Knicks game, he had 29, 15 assists, which is insane, and 10 rebounds. So pretty healthy triple double.
I mean, anytime you have 29 and a triple double, you really putting in some work. 29 and a triple double. Now, if you're doing 16, 10 and 15, and you'd be like, okay, you had a decent game, all around game, but that's pretty definitive when you can get damn near 30 points.
But he also didn't have just 10 assists. He had 15. That's a lot of assists.
So you had so much to do with baskets being scored. 29 yourself and 30 points. You generated 59 points by yourself, just with the assists and the points. So yeah. And after the Knicks games, what other games did they play after that?
All right, so they played the Celtics. Obviously, that was last night. Who else have we played? No, so that was the gap. The gap between the 7th and the 13th. We didn't play anybody. So the Celtics
So
was the
so
game.
so
And,
I'm tripping from
and the game before the Knicks was also the Celtics. That's why in my head I'm like, damn, we played the Celtics a lot. We played them 3 times already this year.
and that was a score of 130 to 120 because I remember it being 125 to 120 with like 30 seconds left.
Close game. It was a close
Yeah,
game.
they they
Um,
they they
yeah.
actually made it a game with 30 seconds left. They actually called timeout, and I think after that they went on a 5-0 to close the game. So
And the kicker is Tatum has not played in either one of those games.
yeah, but Pritchard was there, and he got down on both games.
And he's like what? Steve Kerr in the flesh, or he's like Larry Bird.
Hey man, he's a thorn in the side, bro. Like Pritchard is he's going crazy against us. It's like, isn't that the person that Jaylen Brown was referring to? This is who we play when we play somebody like the Pistons, and he relishes.
Yes, not granted. Peyton Pritchard, they said, is right now the undisputed 6th man of the year. So he's killing everybody.
Okay, so it's just not he's just not going crazy versus us. He's doing his thing.
Well, let's look at it because at this point I got to see myself.
Yeah, I gotta know, man. Because if it's personal, I'm going to see. If it's personal, I'm going to see.
It might be personal, but he's averaging 16.5 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And
that's pretty awesome to be off the bench. That's pretty awesome.
And he's shooting about 50% from the field. But
yeah,
when you look at his career, last year he averaged 10, and before that 5, 6, and 7. So
he's having a career year period
by far.
Okay.
By far.
So I won't take it personal. It's just it is what it is. He's having a great year. He's having the opportunity to play more minutes because Tatum hasn't played. So he's basically relishing in that, he's taking full advantage.
I mean, he's still coming off the bench. I mean, the Celtics
with the
lineup
minutes,
is so strong.
You still get more minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure he's getting more minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they go smaller at times, and then that's when he gets his minutes.
Yeah, although I don't know how tall is they gotta because
he's got to be 6 foot.
Oh no, he's not tall at all. Yeah,
he's like 5'11" or something.
It's 6'11". I mean 6'1", but he's more or less 6 foot. But when they put out Luke Cornett and Porzingis, and then mind you, Jalen Duren didn't play yesterday. We look tiny out there.
Oh, Duren didn't play yesterday.
Correct.
Okay. When
your boy Reed played?
How did Reed do?
I was disappointed. This was definitely an opportunity for him to get some minutes. And geez, okay, this box score don't even have him, but I know he played because I watched him play. He was jacking threes, unfortunately. Let me see if I can find a box score, but he didn't look great. Now, mind you, full disclosure, I only watched the first half. I cut it off after that to put the football game on. But
were you disgusted or you just wanted to watch the football game?
I was disgusted, and old girl was like, well, just put the football game. And I was like, all right. She can see the disgust on my face. It was like, this is embarrassing. Like
Reed played 15 minutes. He played 15 minutes. He shot 2 for 6 with 4 points.
Yeah. But if you look at the stats, he had a couple of 3 attempts, and they were like, why are you doing that? Now, granted, well, we know the shot visually looks terrible, right? But
yeah,
I mean, they weren't bad they weren't bad shots as far as how they looked going towards the rim, but it looks bad when he shoots it like that, if you know what I mean. It ain't pretty.
I think for the most part, it's a lot of people that shot bad, except for Ron Holland.
Yeah, and all Ron Holland. I mean, granted, he did shoot a couple threes. He was getting to the cup. He had a at least 3-4 dunks from what I could see. But garbage
Yeah,
time, no.
he
It was
shot
dunks
11
where
or
it's
14.
like,
He shot 11 or 14 from the field, and the only shots he missed was 3-pointers. He was 2 for 5 from 3.
right. So he only missed the 3. So all those shots was dunks. They weren't, I mean, dunks and layups. He wasn't hitting, he wasn't pulling from mid-range. So yeah.
And I'm concerned about the minutes played by some of the players.
Like who? Thompson?
Well, Beasley's played 16 minutes, shot 2 for 7,
Right.
5 points. I think he needs more minutes. I don't know what exactly is going on, so I can't really say.
So in that game, okay, this is how it went. I mean, they got to cooking us pretty early in the game. So I think they went to Beasley as a punch off the bench. And then after he didn't have it, like for the most part, he's been consistent and good, right? But he does have games where his 3 isn't hitting. So he went 0 for 3 from 3. He went 2 for 7 from the field. And then by that point, it was like, all right, garbage time. Let Ron Holland, Sasser, and I get what Fontecchio get some minutes. Even Wendell Moore got some minutes. So I think it was one of those games where Beasley just didn't have it early, and they just said, let Holland cook. Because as you can see, Holland got a ton of time and obviously scored a bunch of points. And they kind of play the same position. They play that 2-3 position. So I think they just went with the quote unquote hot hand or who was scoring and gave him essentially a night off. So
Pritchard,
but we were getting cooked. But I think at halftime, the score, we were down by 20 and it got as bad as 30. So no point in
garbage time.
I think that if Beasley was a starter, he would have got those. He would have got. Well, see, Hardaway only had 20 minutes himself. So if Beasley started, he would have got more minutes. But by the time they tried to bring him in as a microwave, it was we were cooked. No pun intended.
And Pritchard led all scores throughout the game. He had 27 points, 10 assists.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind you, he doesn't start. Holiday is the starting point guard.
He had 7 threes.
Yeah, he was pulling, bro. He was pulling from the logo.
Yeah, he had 7 threes. I think he shot. Let me see what he shot, because he shot a lot of them. He shot 7 for 15 from 3. He took 15 3-pointers.
God, I never knew him to be a shooter like that. I knew him to be an elusive ball handler, but he didn't I feel like he didn't come up as a dead-eye shooter.
Can you imagine having the green light to shoot 15 threes in the game?
Hey.
Like at some point, you know what I'm saying? If you have a lot of people don't get 15 shots in a game. He had 15.
Let alone. Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. Let's take a quick break, Foster. I know we're getting to like 14-minute mark.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely get back to this. We got a lot more to talk about. We'll take a quick break, and this strictly for ads. That's all it is. We'll be back in 6 seconds. If you're watching, if you're listening, you're going to hear some wonderful ads. That boy shot 15 threes.
Hey, we still on that.
Yeah. Hey, if I'm a coach and you shoot 15 threes, you better make 7 of them.
You better score. Leading score.
And as a coach, I can't get mad. You shooting close to 50%. Pull. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Shoot. If they're leaving you open, shoot. So it is what it is, man. It seems like we've been stuck on 9-10 wins, but The problem is we haven't played that much in the last week. Played 2 games.
We
So,
played a lot early though because
but I didn't think about that when I made. If you see the thumbnail, and title of the show, it's like, what in the? We're getting to it because it's not as bad as I made it. This, I created the show, I created the title, I created the thumb. It's not as bad now that I'm talking about it because we haven't played that much, right? It's probably been 2 games in a week. So there's not like this crazy losing skid, but the game last night made it look bad because of the score. And the Pistons actually lost by 24 points. And like I said, when I turned to the game, they were down 24. It was 100-76, and it got no closer. And it was still a bunch of time left in the fourth quarter when I turned to it. But it was like, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching it. I can't do it. Can't do it. It is what it is. I know we're getting to the close. We're 15 games away from the midpoint of the season. I think 41. I think we play 82 games and we've played 26 games so far. Foster, what is your outlook going forward for the rest of the season? What do you see? Are you optimistic? Are you encouraged? Are you discouraged? I want to know how you feel.
I'm kind of in between. I mean, I'm encouraged by certain things. I think I'm encouraged by what we did in free agency to bring the team to a point to where they are competitive on a majority of nights. With the free agency wise, we've gelled a group of young players with veteran players to make us competitive and able to be respectable and not to just get popped and just smoked every night.
Not every night, yeah.
But I want more. I want more. I'm not complacent. I'm not like, all right, well, it's better than. I want to see us continue especially because we have a bona fide all-star in Cade Cunningham, and for the most part, he's a 20 points a guy, 20 points a night guy. He's bringing it on both ends of the floor. He's creating opportunities for our players, and still a lot of times. Now we've gotten help in certain areas. Malik Beasley has been everything and more from what we have asked of him coming in as a veteran floor spacer. Tim Hardaway has been solid. He's been solid, very very spotty, which he's been spotty for the last couple of years. So not surprised there. And it's the same with Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris has helped us win some games, but he has been very regular, Reggie, if you will, on a lot of games as well.
Same thing they was fussing about. They was fussing about him in Philly for that.
Right, exactly. Which is why we can't really trip, because he is exactly what he was in Philly, but he just had better players around him. He played with Embiid and Maxey. So it wasn't as much of a, so it didn't hurt Philly as much. But the reality of it is this: we were expecting Jaden Ivey to take a jump, or hoping that Jaden Ivey would take that jump, and we were hoping that Jalen Duren would take that jump. And on some nights here and there, I was at the Raptors game when Jaden Ivey hit the game-winning shot when Cade was hurt. There's been highs where everybody was like, "Oh, Monty Williams held him back. To think that people almost traded him. He has arrived." But a lot of these nights, Jaden Ivey is very Nemor. MSU Detroit fan says need more from Ivy. That is the moral of what I'm saying.
Yep.
There's still too many nights where Jaden Ivey scores, because we're at this point, we want him to be a 20 points, 22 points a night guy, because this is a league of stars. If you ain't got 2, 3 stars, you're just not winning games. And Ivy just has too many nights where he scores 16 and shoots 39% from the field. You can't have that. It's gonna hurt you in the end when you got a Maxey Embiid and a Paul George, or a Adebayo and Jimmy Butler and a hero. Like, it's just not going to add up. We have role players. We have great role players. We even got, when you get down to the Saxers, you got guys that can score off the bench, but you don't have enough stars. You have too many okay guys.
Batman needs a Robin.
Batman needs a Robin. There's just too many nights where Ivy doesn't hit that next level. Solid player, fun to watch, does a good job, but he just hasn't hit that next level of, I can depend on you every night for 45% from the field, 20 plus points, and you can play on both ends of the court. We just don't get that enough.
It's the consistency for me, and that's what the knock has always been. I thought this year would be one of those years where he separates himself from that inconsistency and give you what you think you're going to get from him on a regular basis. Is back to 20 a night, 21 night, and look spectacular. Then it's 7 the next night. It's just, you can't do that. You can't do that. MSU Detroit fan says, I want Ivy to be a main starter, but we might need to put Fontecchio back into the starting rotation if Ivy doesn't wake up soon. The only problem is that with that MSU Detroit fan is Fontecchio has been spotty himself.
Super spotty.
Like, if at best he's been meh. We know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. He hasn't shown it on a regular basis this year, and that's the problem with Ivy. That's his problem with Fontecchio. It's the inconsistency. We need a consistent scorer alongside Cade, and I don't know what to do at this point. I mean, when you have a player with the potential of Ivy that's comfortable with playing with Cade, do you trade him? Do you I don't know. But you need that other person, because Cade's going to give you on a regular basis what he gives you. And when he doesn't, he needs that other person to step up.
Not when he does. When he doesn't, he still needs somebody,
Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says Hardio, Fontecchio, Beasley, someone of these veterans. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it all sounds good, MSU Detroit fan, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's just that out of those 3, I trust Beasley to be more productive.
Beasley has done it, I think.
He's done it, and he's had a couple of games where he hasn't, but for the most part, Beasley is pretty consistent. And maybe that should be considered. I thought in Cade's absence, when Malik was putting up all those points and hitting those threes, I said, hey, offer him a contract extension. Like, you know what I'm saying? He has signed for 1 year. Like, extend that contract.
So I guess we don't have, you're probably not familiar. I'm not really super familiar. So we can't offer Beasley above a certain amount because we don't have the bird rights.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a contract term, but we love Beasley. He's a veteran guy. He's been a good spark plug off the bench. His mom is from Detroit. He spent summers in Detroit, but we can only offer him unless he's got to want, essentially, because I think his price has gone up at this point. He's earned himself at night probably 20 million just off the fact that guys that can consistent high volume outside shooters. I mean, he's shooting. He's made the I wrote it down. The fourth most threes this year at 92, which means he's shooting a high volume, but he's also shooting 40% from three. So he's earned himself. Those type of shooters have earned themselves anywhere from $15 to $20 million. But I think there's a max amount that we can actually offer Malik Beasley. So hopefully we can coerce him to stay. But I think that if the price is high enough, remember how Bogey was a high was a guy that we wanted 2 first-round picks for because of his value. That's what Malik Beasley might end up being.
Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says, yeah, Beasley is probably the best of the veteran guys, even better than Tobias at times.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. MSU Detroit fan also says, should we actually listen to these Isaiah Stewart trade rumors? You know, here's the thing, right? And I'm just gonna keep it 1,000 with you. There's nobody on this roster that's guaranteed a spot outside of Cade. I think everybody is available for trade talks. I don't think no one's exempt except Cade. I think you have to listen and entertain every offer on the table that doesn't include Cade. That's just my opinion. And the crazy thing, it's hard and it's difficult. It's very difficult to accept that when you have a young core of Duren and Ivy. You, in our heart of hearts, we want this to work. We want Duren to be that guy. We want Ivy to be that person, that core, the big 3 here in Detroit. It's just not happening. Not right now. And I don't know if it ever will. I don't think it'll get to that point. I think somebody's got to go. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, out of that core, I just love the enforcer mentality and rim protection that Stewart provides. I would be at this point. I would much rather, as much as I love the story of Ivy and just his passion and how excited he was to be in Detroit. It goes like in this, as far as the orders go, I think it goes Stu, number 1 priority to keep. Ivy. No, yeah, number 2 priority to keep. And Duren, bro. hey, Duren is averaging 8 points this year.
Stewart gives you what Duren isn't from the center position. He gives you toughness. He gives you rim protection. It's just that Duren is he's a big guy, so athletic that the potential, what he can be, is so intriguing in comparison to Stewart. Because what you see is what you get with Stewart. Duren can be. He can, if he turns the corner, he could be amazing. And it's just hard to part with that. It's just very difficult to come to grips to say, hey, keep Stewart, trade him. That's just a wild thought. MSU Detroit fan says Paul Reed becoming the main center real soon. I'm gonna tell you, Foster knows this because we talk a lot outside of this podcast and stuff. I was very high on Paul Reed. I actually thought he would be in the starting lineup. I actually thought he would be your starting power forward. But he's had times, again, with him, it's inconsistency. At times he looks like he belongs, and at times it looks like he doesn't. And it explains a lot why he doesn't get that he gets a lot of DNPs.
Yeah.
It kind of explains it. MSU Detroit fan says, would you still have James Wiseman or someone else?
James Wiseman is out for the year with a torn Achilles. So
The crazy thing about it is, I think one point Foster said, you know, you could very well have James Wiseman on the team and not Duren last year at some point.
did I say?
You said that at one point.
Yikes.
You said it could have happened.
I was that low on him.
Yeah, I mean, you said it could very well be where Duren is gone because of the trade, trade value.
Oh, I see what you're saying because of the fact that Duren.
You could get more trading Duren, and that could have been in the play. You could have said, okay, let's trade Duren and keep Wiseman. But Wiseman went to Indiana in the offseason. He had tore his Achilles on a non-contact. I mean, he was just walking back after a score, and it was like, oh my gosh, I need help.
Basically, that thing was waiting. That thing was waiting to unravel. Yeah. That's the case.
But the thing is, in that game, he was going crazy. He had 6 points in the first quarter, second, and it was early. And I was like, he's going crazy early. I was pissed. You know what I'm saying?
That was the first game of the season, too.
Yeah, and then he just went out, and I was like, oh wow, that is crazy. I think James Wiseman, I think things happen for a reason as far as him not being on the roster, not the injury. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about as far as him not being on the Pistons. I think that was the path that was supposed to happen. I was just hoping that Jason Duren would be a lot better and a lot more productive than he's been. He too has been inconsistent.
So when we look at Jalen Duren, he's going into his third year. So we know he's young. He's still only 21 years old, which is one of the reasons why it's like, if there's any hope or any that he could be something, he's a guy you probably want to trade soon before people say, hey, this guy's had 3 full years of basketball with a top-notch point guard on a team that's, looking for somebody to take the ring, to take over. And this guy is averaging 8 points a game. Now he's got the highest field goal percentage that he's ever had at 68%. But all that tells me is that his game hasn't progressed and he's still only dunking the ball. Anybody that shoots 68% from the field, they're more than likely just dunking the basketball, especially if they only average 8 points a game. That's just 4 dunks. But last year, he really maxed out. Now, as much as we dogged Duren last year, right? He averaged 14 points, 13.8. 14 points a game and 11.5 rebounds. We are now down to 9 points and 9 rebounds. And he's playing 5 less minutes. Like, all I can make of that is he's playing 5 less minutes because A, he's in foul trouble, and B, Isaiah Stewart is outplaying him this year.
He's definitely being outplayed.
Stewart is only playing 22 minutes a game, and guess what? He has the 15 as far as the most blocks per game, and the 12th most total blocks. Because blocks per game is a better measure. Well, total blocks has a lot to do with how many minutes you play. If you play 40 minutes a game, you got more opportunities to get blocks. But yeah, Isaiah Stewart defensively has really taken off, and Jalen Duren isn't even rebounding at the same level. Like,
he's not even rebounding, and that was the thing.
He's healthy, and he was healthier this year. He had ankle issues last year. He's been relatively healthy up until he didn't play last game. But I think is it the first game he didn't play, or no? He missed a couple of games.
He missed a couple, but Foster, that's the very thing that kept him around was his rebounding. He rebounded at such a high clip. I was like, they're probably not going to they'll probably make it decrease his role and say, hey, this is your niche. And he's not even doing that. like he was last year. MSU Detroit fan says crazy that Duran and Imani Bates were both on the same recruiting class to Memphis in 2019, and it's not ironic that they didn't do much while they were together. There, it is what it is. MSU Detroit fan says Duran was a one and done player at Memphis, while something went wrong for Bates, which led him to transfer at Eastern Michigan. I think what happened was you got a coach like Anthony Hardaway, and a lot of I want to say, when it comes to Anthony Hardaway, their parents of those recruits were probably big fans of his. And so they see the success, they see the name, they see the glitter, and they figure this guy is going to get my kid to the next level. Probably talk to their kid and say, hey, sign with this guy. He's a baller. He's going to get you to the next level. His team is going to be great. And if you look at Anthony Hardaway's Memphis teams, they haven't done much of anything as far as.
I was going to say, have they made moves in the tournament at all?
I don't think that. I'm willing to bet they haven't even made the tournament as much. And if they have early exits because they haven't been into any Sweet 16s, no Elite Eights, nothing like that, nothing of the sort. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't make any moves like that, how long he would be there. Great player when he was there at the NBA, when he was healthy. That doesn't always translate to you being a great coach. Definitely had the best recruiting class in 2019, getting Imani Bates, getting Jalen Duran. But this is the day and age where NIL is a thing. So it's not about recruiting anymore. It's about what can you do for me financially when I come to your school. So it's not like it used to be.
Well, the money is the recruiting at this point.
The money is the recruiting, and and different schools have different amounts of money to distribute. So a lot of these kids are going to the highest bidder. So it is what it is. I don't want to get off in a tangent about college recruiting because that's a whole different thing as far as this conversation. But what we will do is we'll take another quick break and we'll get back. Foster, we've been talking for 38 minutes. It's crazy. We need to talk more about the Pistons, man. We can talk all day. Basketball.
Good.
If you're watching, stay right there. If you're listening, God bless you. See, that was fast, right? Didn't take long. Told you. But anyway, Pistons. I think the direction of the Pistons shouldn't be. I don't think you should be hasty. I think you should entertain any offers. I don't think anybody's exempt or off the table outside of Cade. And, I trust JB more than I trusted Monty. I do. I think he's the right man for the job. I think because we were 9-12 at one point, and now we're 10-16, which means 1-4 out of the last 5. We have to consider those opponents. It's been Boston twice. It's been
the Bucks twice.
The Bucks twice, and the Knicks. That's a pretty
Boston 3 times. You said twice?
Out of the last 5.
Oh, you're talking about the last 5.
The last 5 games, because we were 1-4 the last 5 games.
Right.
And you have to consider the schedule. You can't say the sky is falling when you play the Bucks twice, Boston twice, and the Knicks, and you're 1-4 out of those 5 games. You're lucky you weren't 0-5 out of those 5.
I feel like that's been our schedule. Have we really had breaks? We lost to the Hornets twice. The Hornets have given us hell.
Twice.
And and we played the Hawks. Now, granted, we beat the Hawks, right? But the
They've
Hawks,
been scorching.
bro, they beat the Cavaliers.
Yeah. Twice.
Twice.
Back-to-back games. And they beat Boston last night.
Bro, and they beat the Knicks.
The Knicks, I'm sorry, not Boston, but they beat the Knicks last night.
And we know what they did to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Hawks are they're clicking.
They are. They were
and
talking
about they had the number one pick this year, by the way.
And they were talking about trading that point guard. I don't think they're gonna get rid of him.
They still need another. They still need a star next to him, though.
I don't think they get rid of him, though. I think they get someone else, because getting rid of him is not. I mean, he's not the problem.
No, but I think at some point they are going to try to, because they tried to put DeJounte Murray next to him, and that didn't work. So they moved him and brought in Dyson Daniels, which is a nice little. It's kind of like a cheaper DeJounte Murray, but still, he's a great defensive player. And Jalen. Everybody's seen it firsthand. This guy's got like a ton of blocks and all that, and a ton of steals. But and Jalen Johnson is young, and he's developing as a like complimentary star too, because I think he's averaging about 20. But still, if they're really going to make moves, because the Hawks in Trae Young's early career have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They put the Trae Young has been the biggest villain of the Knicks since he's been in the league, and he put the Knicks out a couple years ago. But in order for them to get to the next level, I still do think they need to piece together some of those young assets to bring in another star. And I don't know if they're going to do that. I thought they were going to not be good and try to tank for this draft, another high draft pick, but they're too good for that. How they beat the Cavs twice? That's insane.
Yeah, back-to-back games. So it wasn't a fluke.
Nah, they punched them in the mouth and say
it was pretty handily the first game, and then the second game it was never in doubt. So it was. Hold on, let me read this by MSU Detroit fan. Memphis has made the NCAA tournament 2 times, and Penny Hardaway 6 seasons at Memphis. But my point was, and thank you for that stat.
Everybody makes it.
Yeah, they didn't make much noise in those 2 times either. So it's like at some point, and 2 out of 6 is horrible for what you're paying Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, I would imagine
2 out of 6 is not good. Like, you need to be there look at the conference. You need to be there every year. That conference is not that kind of conference where you shouldn't be in the tournament. That's not the Big Ten. That's not the Big East, the Pac-10. It's one of those mid-majors. You should be with the coach and your recruiting. You should be a lot further along in those tournament runs. And those tournament makes. MSU Detroit fan says the farthest they made it was in the round of 32 in 2022. They upset Boise State, then Gonzaga.
Destroyed them. Yeah, because Gonzaga's they're a tournament. Yeah. They're a good tournament team.
So they won 1 game.
Right.
Right. I mean, I expect more if I got Penny Hardaway as my coach.
You should be able to recruit anyways, but I mean, that's not to say that a lot of these good players are not good coaches. So. Like no one ever asks, hey, I want Michael Jordan to coach my team. No, you don't.
It doesn't always translate. It doesn't. You can be a phenomenal player. You can be a phenomenal player, be a horrible coach, horrible GM. Doesn't matter.
Look at Phil Jackson. Like, nobody knows him to be a good basketball player, but
he's a hell of a coach.
Pat Riley. I mean, we know Pat Riley played basketball somewhere,
but he was a hell of a coach. Doc Rivers. Should we bring Doc Rivers in this conversation?
No, that's not a good. That's not a good example.
That's not a good example.
Not Glenn.
Well, he wasn't that great of a player. He was decent.
Right. Penny Hardaway was certainly way better than him, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. MSU Detroit fan says Memphis this year is currently ranked 16 and 7-2
They
with a
beat
win over
State.
Michigan State. However, they recently lost to Arkansas State. How do you win to Michigan State and lose to Arkansas State? Fluky.
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 Yeah.
You know what, MSU Detroit fan, what I'm going to do now, this year, I haven't paid much attention
You
to
gonna pay
college
attention to
basketball.
Memphis?
I'm going to pay attention to Memphis from here on out.
Yeah, they gonna mess around and win the national championship. You can be like, this didn't
I
age
doubt
well.
I doubt it.
Me
I doubt
too.
I doubt it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But hey, I doubt it.
That'll be remarkable. And we would laugh so hard. And they'd be like, what's so funny? We'd be like, bro, you spoke this up.
Yeah, you can catch it on the show. Hey, they pause. But yeah, you can check it out on the show. We'll go back to this what the hell type of episode and see we talked about it. Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says Memphis beat UConn, who was ranked number 2 in overtime 99-97. That's why they're ranked super high. Okay.
That's a good win. And they put up 100 points.
That's a very good win.
I have no idea what Connecticut got going on because they definitely just graduated too.
Yeah.
Because
they lost
Castle,
Castle. Yeah.
And they lost a player the year before. So because they repeated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm sure they retooled, but
we'll see. We'll see. And it's early. I mean, a lot of teams lose early in the season, so we'll see. I'm definitely paying attention to Memphis now. Definitely gonna pay attention to them. MSU Detroit fan says UConn went to Hawaii as the number 2 team in the country and lost to unranked Memphis, Colorado, and Dayton.
Dang.
Woo. So they might have some problems.
So right. It's hard to retool every year when you're losing lottery.
You just won back-to-back. You lost multiple players in the NBA. I think those preseason rankings are trash a lot of times.
Yeah, well, you just don't know. You got I'm sure you have high recruits. And
especially when it comes to basketball. When it comes to basketball, it's a totally different ballgame. When you have preseason rankings, you have these expectations, and just doesn't happen like that. MSU Detroit fan says UConn has looked to recover with wins over Texas and Baylor, so they ain't completely dead. No, it's really, really early. It is really, really early. They probably fell out the top 20, but there's plenty of time to get back in the top 20, and that's all you need to do to get in the tournament.
They lost to Hawaii. Yuck. Whoever got drafted.
People only play Hawaii. People only play Hawaii to go to Hawaii and enjoy.
Football players, I've seen good football players out of Hawaii, especially because they got, football has a strong Samoan culture. So you're going to get good Hawaiian players. I remember Tim Chang, granted, he ended up getting drafted by the Lions and didn't do anything, but Hawaii get good players, not in football, but basketball, never.
Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says both Michigan and Michigan State basketball look to be good this year. I've been paying attention to both. And yes, they look, especially when it comes to Michigan, they look 1,000% better than they did last year, for sure.
Hold on, especially Michigan.
No, I'm talking about, Michigan, this is my point. Michigan State has been consistent over the years. They're always good, where Michigan had a horrible drop-off last year where they were bad. So that's what my point was. Michigan looks a lot better than they did last year because they were so bad last year. I think Michigan was 8-24 last year, something like that.
Were they that bad?
It was bad. Whew. MSU Detroit says Tom Izzo is in year 30. Tom Izzo is a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest coaches in NCAA basketball history. I'm not going to say I don't want to say top 5, top 10 or whatever, but he is one of the best to ever coach in college basketball. Much respect to Tom Izzo. MSU Detroit fan says, bring Jason Richardson's son, Jace Richardson, and good things happen. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Back to the Pistons, man. What are we doing, Foster?
I need you to elaborate because I have some thoughts, but
okay. As far as the roster, I'm sure there's a trade deadline approaching. Do you stand pat going off what you know now, or do you make a trade?
Okay, so we went into this year knowing we have good players. We have players that have playoff experience, guys that have been integral parts of teams, maybe not stars. Like Beasley's not a star. Tobias ain't never been a star. Hardaway has never been a star, but they have been complementary players. I feel like we got a lot of okay players, and probably some players that could probably get some more minutes if we weren't so deep. I feel like we are a deep team that can field a lot of, we can field a pretty deep team, but we don't have enough high top-notch guys that tip the scales, that move the needle. And I feel like that's where a trade is necessary. I feel like we have some assets that we can move that are young. Ivy's only 22 years old. Duran is only 21 years old. These are guys that are battle tested. They've shown to teams what they can do, and I feel like they could. And I feel like there's a lot of teams out there that could probably unlock that potential and take up, like especially Duran. I mean, Ivy too. Ivy is a 95 and up percentile as far as speed, athleticism. I feel like he's there, and he has other skills. He's not just fast or can jump high, but I feel like I feel like there's a value for teams that have big contracts that are trying to get the contracts off for younger assets. I feel like there is a market for a guy like Ivy because he has a good enough resume to suggest, hey, this guy could possibly be something with the right coaches and right surroundings. So, like I said, we have a deep team. We still haven't seen Bobby Klintman. I really think that Bobby Klintman can bring something to us. He's just super young and he's been hurt the entire year. I don't know what happened to his calf. He's been practicing he's been physically practicing for the last 2 weeks, and they've been kind of slow rolling him. And when you bring a Bobby Klintman back with a Asar Thompson and a Paul Reed and a Rod Holland who just dropped 26 points, you got way too many players. You're gonna have to move.
Somebody's got to move.
Yeah, and I know that there's guys out there that are like, no, wait on Ivy. This is the year. Wait on Duran. This guy is a physical, just a beast like he is. But I feel like you got to strike while there's still a value there. I feel like if you let Duran go another year, averaging 8, where he's now averaging 8 points a game and his rebounds drop, you're just dropping his stop. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything to help yourself because what are you going to pay Duran? What are you going to pay Ivy, who's in is he in a contract year?
Ivy?
He's due for his rookie.
His rookie year is only 3 years, so I think he's in his last year.
So, like, what are you gonna? So 4 years. Oh,
I know it's nearing a decision: contract extension or trade.
So he'll be a free agent. Oh, so we have a team option. So we have an option in to pick up a $8 million deal after the no. Oh no, we picked it up. We already picked up the option.
So it's
Up
either
until
trade or contract.
right. So either way, are we really gonna run back this experiment next year with Ivy? I mean, we know
There's no
Cade
more
is
experiment.
we know Cade's here, right? He's signed a rookie
Max.
max.
Yeah.
So we're not running back the Ivy and Duran experiment. We don't need 8 points a game at the second position. I'm just not impressed. You can get that from the rookie.
Sure.
Well, I don't know. We can get that from Stewart, but at the same time, Stewart, we don't want to move Stewart out of his role. He's a great backup center, rim protector type guy.
Yeah.
So
good guy coming off the bench.
But even he has limitations, and we know that, we squashed the experiment of him being a floor spacing four. And now, he's in his role. He's not going to score over. He's never going to score over 10 points a game. So, but out of your center, you got centers like Anthony Davis, Embiid. You got a lot of centers out there that are scoring a lot of points, and they can shoot from the outside too. And his game has not progressed. It'd be different if Duran was a lockdown, shut down in the paint guy. He's not that. He's just a guy that can dunk. That's it.
Man, you need more.
Imagine
I need more than
a 40-inch vert, and you're not blocking 2 shots a game, and you're diesel. Like, you're not like a little stick figure. This guy is Dwight Howard in the flesh. But anyways, so we have a very deep team. We haven't even seen Bobby Clinton play. He's probably a top 5 playmaker, because you only got 2 playmakers. You got Cade Cunningham and you got Jaden Ivey. And Jaden Ivey averages 4 assists a game, but he also averages 3 assists. That's not a good assist to turnover ratio. So something's got to give. Ivy and Duran have, I guess, marginal trade value. I want to see us go out and get a guy like Vucevic, who can score. He's having a career. He's having a career. He's an older guy, but we also have contractual control over him for the next couple of years. And he's having a career year. He can play the center position, but he can also drop 20 and shoot from the outside.
Let me ask you this, and I want you, because we hear a lot of this talk. We heard a lot of the talk in the off season. We heard some talks last season. And we're still hearing the talks. Do you trade for Brandon Ingram right now?
The only thing about Brandon Ingram is that he's going to be a free agent. So if he's not going to sign an extension, it's a waste of time, because we're not.
He's going to be a rental, and he's going to go to the highest bidder at that point.
He's going to go to the highest bidder, and he's going to probably get the hell out of Detroit, unless he loves Detroit. So you don't go get a guy like him unless you're ready to win a championship. Now, if you're ready to win a championship, go ahead and get him, because
he's worth the championship. You might leave.
Because he's also gonna move the needle, because he's another 20-point plus scorer that can get you 30 some nights. But he's also injury prone. I want to say he's missed some games this year.
He misses some games every year.
Exactly. And he's continuing that.
He's the thin guy. So
oh my God. I mean, yeah, but even KD isn't that. So he's played, how many games he's played? Okay, it doesn't say how many games he's played, but since November 22nd, the team has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They played 11 games since November 22nd, and he has not played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those games. So he's missing several games as we speak.
He does that on a regular, Foster. Like, he misses games a lot.
Yeah. So something tells me he's not going to get traded to Detroit. And like, all right, I'm going to play every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's a great player, and when he hits free agency, like a Paul George, remember Paul George hasn't played a lot. He's overextended his knee like twice this year,
Yeah.
but he went and got 40 million this year because he's that good. I think Ingram's going to go and get a bunch of money this year too, but it ain't worth it for us to send Stewart. I bet you they'll take Stewart right now.
Yeah,
because the Pelicans need guys like Stu, and Stu's on an affordable contract too.
Yeah, I mean that's the only trade that I've heard about. That's the name that's been buzzing.
Levine, of course.
Couple of years is Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, bring Brandon Ingram along. And if I had a second part to that question, if you were
my bad.
but I can't answer it because you said no. You vetoed that trade.
Right.
My second part was, if you do trade for him, who are you willing to part with for that trade?
Ingram.
I don't, and it doesn't make
Ingram hurts it. Ingram hurts it.
It doesn't make sense to trade to sell the farm if he's if he's going to be a free agent next year.
If he was healthy this year, averaging 30 points a game, it'd be a different story. It'd be like, all right, bet. He's going to cook for us. And
the answer is you don't trade for him because of the injuries, because of the contract. You just don't give him up.
The most I would give up for Ingram for a 1-year rental deal would be like man.
It wouldn't be much.
I would give you Ron Holland. I'll give you Ron Holland just for the simple fact that
you got Arsar Thompson.
But shit, he just scored 26.
But you got the same kind of player in Arsar Thompson.
Arsar Thompson ain't never scored 26 points though.
Foster, that's one game. You can't just choose.
Bro, but he played, but Arsar Thompson played damn near, not a full year, but I'm about to look up Arsar Thompson.
Arsar Thompson's about to get 30 next game.
Sight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the most points he's ever scored in the game is 22, and he played a full year.
Yeah.
Not a full year, but
I mean, I get what you're saying. This is a young
Holland did that in his first
his
first 26 games, right?
Yeah, so, I get you. I know what you're saying.
So so even that's tricky. Even that, So do I give up a guy that like Ron Holland who could still be a star for Brandon Ingram who's probably gonna go sign somewhere else? No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Essentially, you gave him away. First of all, you just gave the Pelicans their 8th wing because they already have Herb Jones. They already have Murphy. They already got a ton of wings. So like the rich is getting richer. I don't like that because he's not going to re-sign with it. Who knows what's going to happen? Zion Williamson's still missing games at a high clip. And Ingram is probably leaving there because not only does he not play, he's going to want $30 million and someone's going to pay him. It's probably going to be like the Magic or something. Does the Magic just, I don't know.
Yeah. My honest opinion is you don't make any. First of all, you're not in a position to where you're that close to where you have to make trades to get over the hump. I think you can get over the hump with what you have.
So how do we get it? How do we get any better than we are right now? I don't see it.
Well, the thing is, I don't think there's anybody out there worth trading for at this moment in this juncture. That
Vooch, man.
Get you.
Vucci, as they say, Vucci, man.
And he plays for who?
The Bulls. They say his ticket. Of course, he's not playing tonight. So you just killing my whole.
So that's your target Vucci?
Let's okay. I
I
just
mean,
want to
there's
throw.
nothing wrong
I
with it.
want to. I want to throw. I want to just throw this out there. Now, granted, he is 34 years old. He's in his, we'll say, 12th-ish season.
Well,
He
this
started
this
in 2011.
this is
But
the point. This is
go
the point
ahead.
I'm driving. This is the point I'm driving. Let's say Gucci Man is the person in your sights. What are you willing to part for?
They say that, but here's the kicker. They say that they're so thirsty to get off salary that they're willing to part with him for 2 second-round picks.
So it wouldn't be a matter of trading anyone personnel wise. You could
Well,
trade.
let's say it's a little more than that because 2 second-round picks for an all-star. Booch might be an all-star this year. So to say
So,
second,
okay, here's the thing. Who do you give up? Because I know you need to make a roster move. You need to make a space on your roster for him, for sure.
Durant,
You trade Duran for him, and all they
bro,
want is
they're
two second
Duran.
rounds.
Well, yeah. If they want 2 second rounds and they genuinely want that, which I find hard to believe because I really feel like somebody would have offered them that
For
already, right?
sure.
So
Sure.
that's what. So I'm what I'm willing to say is that the price isn't that cheap. So,
Couldn't be. So
but
you sweeten the deal to make it a slam dunk. You say
bro, Duran, yeah, slam dunk. That's literally all Duran does. Um, but he's averaging 8 points a game. That's literally 4 dunks. Nothing else. I'm not even saying free throws. Like he's in his third season. Granted, he's young. He's in his third season and has his game progressed at all? Besides him being able to pass a little bit and to push the ball up the court. He turns the ball over a ton too. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just very disappointed in his point production and his lack of post presence defensively.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, once again, if he averaged 8 points a game, but he was a force down low blocking shots. Hey, I don't like 8 points a game for a starter. Like what championship team, what playoff team has a center that averages 8 points a game? It just doesn't happen. You're gonna at least average 10, 11 points a game. Like for you to average 8 points a game, that means you have some games where you have like 7 and 6. That's how that works. The same way how when you average 22, some nights you get 30, some nights you fall under and get 19. But when you average 8, that means you finish some games scoring only like 6 points, 5 points a game. And then you even it out with some 13 and 14 point efforts. Like that is awful. I just can't. That's crazy to me. But so when you start talking about Vooch, this is in his whatever season. I don't know how many seasons he's been playing, but he's 34 years old. The dude is averaging 21 points a game. He's shooting 59% from the field, which is like, okay, cool. Duran's averaging 60 points from the field. He's shooting 48% from 3. Bro, that's way now. Granted, his volume isn't as high as like a Malik Beasley, but your center averages 48% from 3, and he's still averaging a high efficiency rate from the field. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you're only held liable for I think the next 2 years with Vucevic. So it's not like, oh, he gets old next year and we still, he finally is over the hill next year and you got him for another 3 years. I think he just he's got a 3-year deal that expires. Computer moving slow as shit. Damn, my computer's moving slow. The contract expires in in 2025, next year.
Mm.
It expires next year. So my thing is this: Vooch starts showing age, or you can always draft your future center this upcoming year.
Yeah.
But Vooch is playing at in the moment. Vooch is playing at an all-star level. He's shooting 48% from three. Like, that's insane. Like, you mean to tell me Cade don't need that inside, on the outside, and he can score inside too. Like, he's not just shooting threes all day. Like, Vooch is huge. Like,
and needing that on the inside is crazy.
You said what?
Needing that on the inside is crazy.
Hey.
Just
It was. Yeah. But yeah, Vooch, yeah. It's funny because the Bulls fans are so ready to reset because they've been in the same like 7 to Mr. My City.
There's my guy. There's my dog.
Yeah, he like what they doing live right now
is in the building. And yeah, it's Friday, man. We don't have a life. So Pistons played yesterday. We're talking about Mr. My City, that thumbnail on the facts. Hey, Mr. My City, it's not as bad as I thought once we sat down and talked about it, because I went into the mindset when I made the show is like, what in the heck is going on? We've only played 2 games within the past week. And our last 5, we played Boston twice, Milwaukee twice, and the Knicks. So maybe I went on a tangent before I actually talked to Foster about this, but I was just thinking, we've been stuck on 9-10 wins for a while. What is going on? Like, what in the world? So I kind of went off on a tangent before we sat down and started the show. Mr. My City says, "Nah, it was bad." You know what? And then I don't know if you were here earlier, but I didn't see the game yesterday until the 4th quarter. And when I turned to the game, it was 100-76. And I was like, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching the rest of this. It's crazy. Mr. My City says I'm going to have to replay it to calm down. I just need to see. I think we play the Miami Heat next, and I think that's on
Monday.
Yeah, you going to that game.
That's the next game, though?
That's the very next game.
Geez, so we got we played on Thursday, and we don't have another game till Monday?
Yeah. So I expect a lot of games to go on between that time, between Monday and Christmas. They're going to probably play a lot because they've had such a lapse in game schedule. It's crazy.
It's because of the cup, I think.
Yeah. Mr. My City said, I watched every second. It was bad. A whole lot of what the effery. Yeah.
How did he watch the whole? I cut that
Foster
halftime. I cut it off. I ain't gonna hold you.
Foster watched the first half and couldn't watch anymore. He said that's it. Fontecchio is on his way out. Mr. My City, I'm glad you mentioned that, because earlier we were talking about that and somebody said Fontecchio needs to play more minutes. And me and Foster was like, hey, he hasn't been doing what we expect. Like, that shot from outside has looked horrible. You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually surprised. I look at the number. So he's shooting 39% from the field, which is pretty crappy.
Pretty good. It's not bad.
No, from the field?
I mean, if you talking about a jump shooter, it's not horrible. But for a great jump shooter, which is his forte, it's not good.
Because his shots from 3 is 35%. That's actually okay.
Yeah.
But it just kind of goes to show that he doesn't get many other shots because this 35% isn't. If you're shooting 35% from 3, your field goal percentage, I feel like, should be better than that.
For sure. Mr. My City said
because your layups, unless you're not good from the paint, your layups are should boost your percentage a lot. Should help your percentage.
Yeah. Mr. My City said he had a shine last year as a new guy. His confidence is shot now. He also says 35% on a low sample rate.
Yeah, because he doesn't get many minutes.
I think that makes it worse because it's not a high, as a low sample, it looks like he's not scoring. If that's a lot of volume, then 35% seems like it's good. But
that's good,
when you don't have a lot of shots in this 35%, doesn't look as good. Even though
he's averaging like 6 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, if it was that simple,
bad.
I think if it was that simple to just put Fontecchio in more, but it has to be one of those things where he's producing more to get more. You can't just throw him in there and say, "Hey, we're going to get more because he's going to play more." He has to have a rhythm. Jump shot shooters have to have some kind of rhythm, and you know it early.
Makes you wonder what that injury did to him, because it's like he was cooking. He was a consistent 15 points a game scorer in that little sample size when he first got to Detroit, and he has never got back to that.
No, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Well, Foster, we are at an hour.
Oh wow,
16 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's about time to get out of here. It's Friday night. We get more of an output when we go live after a Lions game. It's 50-something people in the chat when we do.
Are we on Twitter?
We on Twitter as well.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's 3 or 4. I mean, tonight it's been 4 or 5 max. You know what I'm saying? But after a Lions game, it's 40, 50 people in here.
Makes sense.
It makes sense.
There's not even a Pistons game on tonight.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we got a Pistons show Sunday. What time? We have a Lions show on Sunday. What time do the Lions play Sunday? That 1?
4.
Another afternoon game. Okay. So we'll do a pregame show. And Foster, you got to keep in mind, not many people are going to watch the pregame show after the game starts. So we might have to start a little early on Sunday to do a pregame show.
Yeah.
It might be 9 or 10. So, give the people a chance to actually listen and download before 1 o'clock, because I don't think they're going to listen. They're going to do too much before then. We'll definitely have a pregame show on Sunday and have a post-game show on Sunday with the Lions. So that'll be the next time you catch us, and that'll be on Bleachers to Speakers podcast, even though it's the same channel on YouTube, Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, and it'll just be Bleachers to Speakers on your podcast aggregators. And I think I'll just throw this back out there. Make sure you subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. We are we're shooting for 300 subscribers by February. We want 300 subscribers. Let's put it like that. We finally made it to 2, and we wouldn't have been able to make it without you guys. So we appreciate what you do. Foster, it's that time of the show where Foster is going to put a bow on this if he has a bow to put on this. We've talked a lot, so I wouldn't be mad if you didn't have anything more to say, Foster.
Nah, the bow is find another star to go next to Cade Cunningham, because he's having all-star gear, and I'm tired of people saying free him and that we're wasting his top years. We need to find another star. Ivy. I mean, I'm to the point to where I'm not. I don't even want to say step up, and we need more. Like Ivy just ain't it. He's 20th in the league in turnovers. That's crazy. Like your turnover ratio is 4 to 3. Like 4 assists for every 3 turnovers. Like that's spooky. But shout out to Malik Beasley, man. He has been, pay that man. Money long as 6 Mile.
Yeah. Mr. My City says, y'all be smooth. I missed the top half. I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. My City, because you can always catch the show on YouTube, Bleachers the Speaker. You don't have to miss it. You can go and watch it on there. And if you get there, like, share, comment on there. Also, shortly after the show ends, the show will be uploaded on Spotify, so you can always listen. You might not have the time to watch, but you can always check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, any of the podcast aggregators. You can catch us there. Just type in Post Game Podcast FFSN, and you can listen to us while you're cleaning the house, while you're decorating, putting up your Christmas decorations. You know what I'm saying? While you're just chilling. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to sit down. You can while whatever. Uh, Mr. Mind City says just subbed on Twitter. Appreciate you. We'll definitely follow you back as well. Bo Foster's already put a bow on it. I don't have much to say. All I can say is I wholeheartedly agree with Foster. Batman needed a Robin. And I said Robin. That is crazy.
You said Robin. And you know what? It sounded right, though.
Yeah. Batman needed a Robin. Cade definitely needs a sidekick. He needs a consistent sidekick. If you got your boy, Cade is not going to have 20 points every night and a triple double every night. It's just not feasible. But he's going to have those nights more than not. When he has an off night, he needs that other person to step up. And it seems like when Cade is having an off night, there's no one else. It's just bad for everybody. So we need that second scorer. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Foster. So before we get out of here, I'm going to say subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and follow us on all the podcast aggregators.